The stones under my boots are trembling, and the city behind me feels like it is holding its final breath.
From above, the capital looks almost eternal, but the horizon around it is already filling with pressure. The hidden detail is the silence inside the walls. Fear here is not loud. It is carried in glances and footsteps. This matters because a city can lose safety long before its gates are opened.
I have reached a city built between seas, continents, and trade routes, where every road seems to end at the walls.
The wide view shows water on one side, land pressure in the other, and streets squeezed between history and survival. What maps cannot show is how geography becomes emotion when every harbor and road feels like a possible lifeline. The consequence is clear. Whoever controls this place controls more than stone streets and rooftops.
I am standing beside the layered land walls, and their size explains why this city survived so many earlier threats.
From the moat to the inner towers, the defenses rise in steps, each layer designed to slow an approaching force. The important detail is not only height, it is depth, distance, angles, and the time each barrier can buy. This is why the walls are not just architecture. They are the city's oldest strategy.
Inside the city, only a limited defensive force remains, and every face I pass seems aware of that imbalance.
Across the fields, the besieging camp spreads far wider than the city's thin defensive line. The hidden problem is manpower. A wall can be enormous, but it still needs people at every weak point. From this point, endurance becomes as important as strength, because there are too few hands for too much stone.
The encampment beyond the walls feels like a second city built for one purpose: keeping pressure constant.
Rows of tents, wagons, animals, tools, and supply lines show that this siege is also a logistical machine. The small detail is repetition. Food, timber, ropes, wheels, and messages move again and again without drama. That organization matters because pressure becomes powerful when it can continue longer than resistance.
The first time I see the enormous bombards, I understand why ancient walls suddenly feel vulnerable.
From a distance, the machines look slow and heavy, yet every movement around them is carefully organized. The detail that matters is preparation. Each sound from the field begins with crews, ropes, wheels, and timing. The result is psychological as much as physical, because the city hears its future before it sees it.
When the distant machines sound, the city does not merely hear them. The skyline seems to answer.
In an unprecedented feat of logistic, the Ottoman fleet bypasses the harbor chain. Up close, I notice people pause before they resume work, as if routine is the only shield they can still control.
At night, the wall becomes a workshop, with lanterns moving where daylight revealed weakness.
Workers carry stone, timber, earth, rope, and tools along the ramparts, while the city sleeps uneasily below. The hidden detail is fatigue. No repair looks heroic when hands are shaking from another sleepless night. By morning, the patched stones pretend the city is whole, but everyone knows what the night cost.
At the northern waterway, I reach a massive chain stretched across the harbor like a final line of defense.
The harbor view reveals ships, docks, warehouse, towers, and the barrier protecting one of the last safe arteries.
The important detail is that water can be a wall too, if the city can keep the entrance closed. That chain matters because a secure harbor keeps supplies, hope, and movement alive inside the siege.
The harbor feels calm for a moment, but calm here is only the surface of a much larger contest.
From the dock, I can see crews preparing ships, ropes, and supplies, while lookouts scan every shadow on the water. The detail is waiting. Sailors and defenders spend hours studying distance because one mistake can change the harbor. This waterway becomes a second battlefield without needing to look like one.
Inside the walls, bread is still sold, water is still carried, and children are kept close by anxious families.
The streets remain alive with markets, carts, candles, stone steps, and hurried conversations beneath the towers.
The hidden detail is restraint. The city is afraid, but fear has been folded into daily routine.
This matters because history is not only decided by leaders, it is endured by ordinary people.
Beneath the Great Dome, I feel the city gather itself through prayer, candlelight, and silence. Gorillas. This is not merely a battle, but an industrial undertaking. The walls may be ancient, but
the detail I cannot ignore is beauty. It makes the danger outside feel heavier, not lighter. Despite the formidable chain barrier, the siege escalates. We are witnessing an engineering feat unmatched in centuries.
The siege has lasted long enough for every sound to become familiar, and every quiet moment suspicious.
The wide view shows smoke, repaired walls, crowded alleys, harbour watchpoints, and distant camp movement all at once. The hidden detail is rhythm. The city now lives by repairs, alarms, prayers, rationing, and lookout reports. This rhythm keeps people moving, but it also proves how little space remains for error.
Not all pressure comes from the horizon. Some of it moves invisibly beneath the ground.
Engineers listen near walls and foundations, using tools, silence, and experience to detect hidden work below. The key detail is uncertainty. Underground danger gives no grand image, only vibrations and suspicion. This kind of siege turns the earth itself into a place of anxiety.
In the dim spaces below the walls, defense becomes listening, digging, bracing, and waiting.
Workers carry lanterns through cramped stone passages and earthen tunnels, moving carefully without panic. The hidden detail is discipline. Every quiet movement below can protect hundreds above. Above ground, people may see walls, but below ground they are defending the city's bones.
Then I see something that should not belong on a hillside. Ships being prepared to move where there is no sea.
From the slope, timber rollers, ropes, animals, and coordinated teams turn engineering into a spectacle. The detail that shocks me is practicality. The plan is strange, but every part of it is physical and deliberate. Once ships can bypass water, the city's idea of safety changes before the harbor even does.
By morning, the waterway looks different, and the city understands that one of its assumptions has failed.
New ships appear inside the protected side of the harbor, while defenders watch from walls and docks. The hidden detail is morale. A barrier can still exist, yet feel weaker once imagination has been defeated. This changes the siege, because pressure now reaches the city from more directions than before.
Messengers begin moving faster through the inner streets, and the city's anxiety becomes visible in motion.
People carry baskets, tools, water, timber, and news between walls, docks, homes, and gathering places.
The important detail is distribution. Every sector asks for help, and there is never enough of it. A siege can stretch a city until movement itself becomes a sign of strain.
Late in the siege, the air changes. Outside grows louder, while inside becomes strangely controlled.
The wide view shows torch lines beyond the walls and quiet streets within them, two worlds preparing differently. The hidden detail is recognition. People may not say the final test is near, but they move as if they know. That mood matters, because before walls fall, confidence often begins to move first.
The city's leaders walk the walls, offering presence where certainty is no longer possible.
Defenders gather near torches and stonework, listening as messages pass from one section to another. The detail here is not a speech. It is the fact that someone remains visible when fear wants to scatter everyone. At the edge of defeat, leadership becomes less about promises and more about staying.
During the final night, I hear preparation on both sides, one city bracing and one camp gathering momentum.
Moonlight catches walls, tents, towers, timber, ropes, ships, and moving torches across a tense landscape. The drums and the city bells define two separate worlds tonight. This mist-shrouded night is the defenders' last. This night feels less like time passing and more like history tightening its grip.
Before sunrise, smoke and mist blend together until the horizon looks unfinished and dangerous.
Distant formations move in layers through the gray light, while defenders shift along the walls.
The important detail is scale without clarity. Everyone can sense movement before anyone can fully understand it.
That uncertainty shapes every decision made in the first minutes of the final push. From the wall, I do not see one simple action. I see waves of pressure returning again and again.
The wide frame shows distant movement, smoke, torches fading into dawn, and defenders repositioning across the wall. The hidden detail is exhaustion. Each new wave arrives against people who already spent the night awake. Endurance becomes the real battlefield, because the city must answer pressure repeatedly.
At the damaged sectors, the defense feels thinner, faster, and more desperate than anywhere else. As the bombards pound the outer defenses, the defenders race against time to reinforce the breaches with timber. Meanwhile, the
detail is geography. One weak section can pull attention away from another before anyone notices. When a long wall has several problems at once, courage must choose where to stand.
Then I see confidence begin to shake, not all at once, but in small pauses along the line.
Doublers. As the bombardment intensified, the commander was guided away from the breach sector. It was this moment, more than the cannon. The hidden detail is emotional timing. Fear spreads fastest when people are too tired to question it. Sometimes history turns when a line still exists, but belief in the line begins to break.
Near a smaller passage, movement becomes confused, and the meaning of control starts to slip.
Figures move quickly through a shadowed gate area and along stone steps, with smoke obscuring exact details. The key detail is uncertainty. Later accounts may argue over specifics, but everyone here feels disorder spreading.
That confusion matters because sieges are often decided by gaps between orders, movement, and understanding. Once the walls are crossed, the siege changes instantly. The edge of the city no longer holds.
Distant silhouettes appear on a wall section through smoke and dawnlight while streets below begin to stir. The hidden detail is perspective. From outside, it is a breakthrough, but from inside, it is a world turning inward. The city spent centuries holding enemies at its edge, and now the edge has moved inside.
Bells, footsteps, smoke, and rushing voices fill the streets as the old order begins to collapse.
From a rooftop, the city spreads below in layers of domes, walls, water, towers, and moving crowds. The hidden detail is scale. Collapse does not arrive in one image. It appears in many directions at once. This is the moment when a capital stops feeling defended and starts feeling transformed.
By midday, the result is no longer a question. The city has changed hands.
The wide view shows gates, roads, harbor routes, and main spaces entering a new order from a distance. This astonishing feat of engineering, hauling warships overland on massive timber rollers, is a critical turning point. The winner gains a capital, while the defending empire reaches its final end.
The prize is enormous. A crossroads of seas, roads, trade, memory, and legitimacy. The geography is unforgiving. As massive bombards pound the outer defenses, the fleet converges.
The hidden detail is that a city can become more powerful after it changes rulers, because geography remains. This fall reshapes politics, trade, imagination, and fear across nearby worlds.